everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Lottie and this is my April TBR. So if you've seen my TBR scrolls for March and April, you kind of will probably already have a bit of an idea of what's going to be in this video. There was a few chunky fantasies on that TBR that, as will probably not surprise you, I haven't gotten to yet in March. I'm just gonna talk you through what I'm hoping to get to in April, and also the readathon is that I'm participating in. I nearly said readathons because there is actually one I'm still undecided about. So the readathon that I'm definitely going to be doing in April is Realm of the Readathon, which was hosted and created by Covers with Cassidy, which is a teams-based readathon based on these fantasy realms. There are 4 realms this round and I am going to be part of Team Enya. So the 4 different realms kind of correspond to a different genre, and Enya is the fantasy genre. So part of the reason why I have saved a fair few of my chunky fantasies for April is because you do get bonus points for reading your team's genre for this readathon, but you don't have to read your team's genre. I think the other genres are contemporary / romance, spooky, which encompasses things like horror and mystery, and we've also got a science and non-fiction one as well. I will leave a link in the description to Cassidy's announcement video for this round. This is the second round. There was one last year, but I ended up not participating in it. I think it's because I just left it too late to really pick a team, and there was all these different prompt things. You can either read books to get points for your own team, or you can read books to take points away from another team, which I quite like the concept of. I don't know why I didn't end up participating last year. I think it was just a lot. I can't remember if it corresponded with Marvelathon last year and it was just a bit too much all in one go. I don't remember, but the point is I didn't do it last year, but I missed out. So this is why I wanted to do it this time round. I can't remember off the top of my head what the points are. Not the points, the prompts are. I'm just going to read and then see how my book fits into the prompts, whether those are going to be defense prompts for my own team or if they're going to be attack prompts for other teams. So we'll just see what happens based on what I decide to read, but I kind of know what I'm going to read this month. It's got nothing to do with the readathon, and we'll see how my books fit into the prompts. The other readathon, you probably already know what it is Magical Readathon created by G from Book Roast. So this is the Aurelian Readathon, where there is a spring equinox and an autumn equinox, and you read books to pass classes, which will then determine your magical career. I love the concept of this readathon. I just cannot be bothered with it, unfortunately, which sucks. I love how much work G has put into it. I think it's so cool, which is why I'm still undecided on if I want to participate this year. I've participated in all of the ones previously, apart from the one that was in like December, and it's because as time's gone on, I've just really fell off the bandwagon with this readathon. There are so many prompts and I don't really like how you can't double up unless you have like particular points, like guild points or something. And I don't like the character I ended up creating back in the first round of this readathon, which I think was towards the end of 2021. And I know I can just jump in, I can create a new character and everything, which is what I'm probably going to do, but I just can't be bothered with the effort of looking at what kind of character I want to create and how they want, like what kind of career they want to do and everything. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I love the concept behind it and I love the world that G is building for this readathon. It's so cool. I would love if one day she like turned it into some sort of book, but I just can't keep up with it. Like I feel like it's so much effort, which is not the point. Like it's meant to be fun, and I feel like I put so much pressure on myself with this readathon. So I would like to participate. I just don't know if it's going to be worth the effort for me, especially with doing Realm of the Readathon as well. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I would like to participate in this readathon if I can. So those are the 2 readathons that I'm thinking about. Let's talk about the books that I'm actually going to be reading. So first of all, let's talk about the books that I still need to read on my TBR Scrolls TBR. If you remember from that video, if I don't complete my TBR Scrolls TBR by the end of April, I'm not allowed to buy any books in May. I still don't know if that prompt is going to stretch to May and June, because obviously I'm doing the game bi-monthly now, but let's talk about the books. So first of all, I am going to be reading Tower of Dawn in April. Obviously this is the 6th book, I think, in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. I am getting a start on it already in March. We've got about a week left of March as I'm making this video, but I feel like I'm probably going to take longer than a week to read this. I did with Emperor of Storms, unfortunately, and I will be vlogging my experience reading this book as I have done with the other books in this series. At the time I'm filming this video, I still need to edit the Emperor of Storms vlog. It is coming, it's just a case of I've just tried to take a month off when it comes to editing because of my apprenticeship ending. Yeah, this is the next to last book in the Throne of Glass series. It takes place at the same time as Emperor of Storms, and I didn't really enjoy Emperor of Storms very much, so I'm still a bit wary about how I'm going to feel about this book. But I thought that like the fandom hated this book in the series, and nearly everyone who has commented on March and April's TBR scrolls has said, I quite like this book, I like Kale. So that's really good, that's really promising. I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy it. I hope I'm going to enjoy it. So the next book is The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill, and this is a little graphic novel about tea dragons. So this was gifted to me from Vicky. Thank you so much, Vicky. I was going to read this in March because it's so short, like I could read it in an afternoon, less than an afternoon. I could read it in an hour maybe. But I thought because it's fantasy, I'll save it for April and then I can use it for points for the readathon. So yeah, you'll notice a theme with a lot of the books on this TBR. I don't really know much about the plot of this other than it's about tea dragons and it's really, really cute, and I absolutely love the art style of this. Very, very excited to get to it. Thank you so much for gifting it to me, Vicky. So next we've got the first two books in the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy, and the reason why it's only the first two books is because that's what was chosen for me from my TBR game. I will obviously leave a link to my TBR game at some point in this video, and also it'll be in the description because I'm going to keep mentioning it because a lot of the books on this TBR are because of that TBR game. Yeah, I haven't read these yet, but I'm very, very excited to read these. I sat on my bed the other day trying to decide what to start next, and I was debating whether or not I wanted to start Guild or Tower of Dawn because I'm very excited to read this book, but I don't know what I'm going to do. So that's why I thought I'll wait until April, I don't know what month it is, guys, to start the series. I'm a little bit sad though because the last book's been postponed until December, and I'm gonna read these because they're on my immediate TBR, but I don't know what I'm gonna do about the next few because I have a feeling I'm gonna want to keep reading this series, but then I'm gonna have to wait until December to read the last one, and I don't want to have to wait, but that's the way it is. So the Plated Prisoner series is a fantasy romance series that is a bit of a reimagining of the King Midas myth, and he is a dude who can turn people into gold at a touch, and we're following a character who is gold touched by King Midas. So yeah, these are the really fancy new Waterstones editions with the little butter edges. This would have been so much nicer if they were gilded edges and not butter, but you know, we move. So yeah, the first two books I'm going to be reading in April because that was what was on the set TBR, and I'm probably going to do a vlog for each book in this series the same way I've been doing with the Throne of Glass series. Whether or not they're going to be spoilery yet, I don't know. So there might be because it's just one book. I was going to do a whole series vlog, but because the last one's not coming out until December, I figured I might as well just do a vlog for each book because otherwise it's just going to be a bit random with not the last one thrown in there at the end. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this. I can't wait to get to them. This is definitely going to be a priority read in April. And then the last book that was on my set TBR because of my TBR game is Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King. So obviously this is not a fantasy book, but it doesn't matter because you don't have to read your team's genre for the readathon. So, fantasy book. No, it's not a fantasy book. What am I on about? This is a thriller. I don't know the plot of this thriller because I've forgotten what it said on the blurb when I read it before, but I know it's a thriller because it's part of the Thrilling Suspense collection. It's following a housekeeper, and I think the person she like house kept, English, that has died. Like, this person has died, and then the police are interviewing Dolores Claiborne about what's happened, and instead she ends up telling her own life story that nobody asked for. So I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen with this book. I recall someone, it might have been Pia, I can't remember, telling me that it is kind of connected to Gerald's game, but I don't know if it was this book that they said is connected to Gerald's game, or if I've just completely made that up. But yeah, that's another one I'm going to be reading in April. I'm interested to read it because I do enjoy Stephen King's thrillers, but because I read Fairy Tale, that was the last Stephen King I read, and I didn't like it, I've been a little bit apprehensive to pick another one of his books up at present, but I'm going to be reading it. So there's only 2 more books on this TBR, but it's already looking pretty chunky. In fact, I've forgotten that I usually put them up here, and I've not even done that today. I've put them on my bedside table. But the next book I'm going to be reading is Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie, which is the second book in the first Lore series. So this is for Catch-Up Book Club's first Lore Along, and this is the March and April book. So obviously I read the first one and I actually quite enjoyed it, and I was debating picking this up instead of Tower of Dawn as my next March read. However, I didn't want to read it too soon after the last one, and I didn't want to read it too early before the live show, which will be in May, because I will forget what happens in this book. I quite enjoyed the first one. It is a grimdark fantasy series. The first one is very, very character driven. There is not a lot going on with the plot. At least not like visibly on page, and it was quite nice to get to know these characters, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen next, where these characters are going. We kind of know now how the 3 characters mentioned on the back of the first book, one is a barbarian, one is a inquisitor, and one is a fencing protege. Kind of, we know how their stories are intertwined now. I'm interested to see what's going to happen next. I was very pleasantly surprised with this. Like, I had a feeling I was going to enjoy it, but I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen next. I've said that like 3 times now. I don't need to say it again. But yeah, it's just like a grimdark fantasy. It's very sarcastic, which I quite enjoy. So yeah, that's the next one for Catch Up Book Club. And then the last book that I'm going to be reading in April is Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare, which is the last short story collection she's written so far, I guess, in the world of the Shadowhunters, and this is April's book for By the Ancient Long. I'm partway through Queen of Air and Darkness at the moment. It's taking me a little bit longer to read than I thought it was going to, but I'm enjoying it, so I'm intrigued to see what happens in this short story collection. I can't really talk about what this collection's about without spoiling the series, because it's about a character who has a lot of mystery behind them, but I have a feeling that the stories in this are going to be similar to Magnus Bane's collection, where they span quite a big period of time based on what I've read on the blurb, which if you do pick up this book at some point and you've not read any of the other books in the Shadowhunters series, do not read the blurb because it will spoil it for you. But I have a feeling that this is going to span quite a long period of time, which I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see the story of this character on the cover here. But yeah, this is the next one for By the Ancient Long. Obviously, it's a very chunky one, but because they're short stories, it shouldn't be too difficult. One of them is so long, oh my god. In fact, 2 of them are so long. Those are not short stories, those are novels. But I do have the audio saved on Scribd, so I'll be listening along with this while I read it, which I'm very happy to do because I've done that with most of the books in the Shadowhunters series, and I've really enjoyed reading the stories that way, so it's nice to be able to actually do that. Unfortunately, the Magnus Bane book and the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, the audio is not available on Scribd in the UK, so it's very annoying, but this one is, so yeah, I'm very excited to read this one. Before we move on to the Eldest Curses series, I think is the next one we read, and then The Last Hours, which I'm very excited to get to. So that is my April TBR. It was a short and sweet video, however, this is not a short and sweet TBR. I think that all of the books on here amount to over 3,000 pages, so I'm going to be pushed to read about 100 pages a day, more than 100 pages a day actually, to finish this TBR. I feel like I can do it though. I'm having a bit of a weird thing happening with my job because my apprenticeship's ending at the end of March. Let me know if you've read any of these books that are going to be on my TBR and what you thought of them. I'm so sorry about the reflectiveness of this one. Let me know if you've read them, what you thought of them, which one you're most excited to hear my thoughts on. Let me know if you're excited about the vlog for Tower of Dawn and if you're excited about the vlogs for the Played Prisoner books as well. That is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below what you are reading in April. If you haven't already and you would like to be, please do consider subscribing. I post a new video every single week. And that is it from me today, guys. Bye!